Art is life. Without it, we are no different than animals.
Perhaps, if all we are is a sentience floating in a suit of flesh, or metal, I suppose, then art is the only true communion with the world. Come with me. Tell me, what does this piece say to you?
It's about composition. The balance of colors and emotions and the struggle to maintain internal order.
Indeed. This was the last piece I did in a series of portraits of Gilda. Number 1378. Her emotional landscape is superimposed on the portrait. The reality of the subject is distorted as the ego attempts to project itself. This way. Tell me, what does this one say to you?
It looks like trees in space. Maybe it's about the struggle to maintain life adrift in an empty void.
Intriguing. What a post-cynical futurist interpretation. All meaning is contained in the struggle for life to continue. We must ascend. And what about this one? And please be honest. For art without honesty is just politics.
It's cute, I guess. Some people like that kind of thing.
More than you would imagine. Truth be told, this is my best-selling piece. I did this series under a pseudonym, of course. This series has made more money than any of my serious works. And I did the whole thing as a lark. What does that tell you about the value of art to the common man, huh? My fellow connoisseur of the art. Here to see my latest work?
Tell me about yourself.
What is there to tell? I am one of the premier artists in the world. My work is primarily in oil paint, but I have been known to do sculpture or performance art as well.
Did you have any thoughts about the murder?
The person you should be looking at is Juliana Riggs. That Philistine would not know art from her own excrement. She and Ezra had a rather dramatic fight recently. You could hear her banshee screeches all the way across the hotel.
What were Juliana and Ezra arguing about?
I don't know. I was painting at the time and I was trying to block it out. Though I bet Gilda probably heard them. Maybe you should check with her.
I think you should explain why you keep returning to the crime scene.
It's for inspiration, detective. The others do not like to think about it, but even we shall die someday. Like Prometheus's torch, it kindles within me the fire to create as much art as I can with the time that I have.
It sounds like you've done a lot of paintings of Gilda. Why her?
Our Gilda is a very singular creature, detective. Do you not see the joie de vivre from within her? I have never met another who clings to life so tenaciously, who lives so in the moment. I must admit I was quite smitten with her for a time.
You're still in love with Gilda, aren't you?
So what if I am? What business is it of yours? She deserves someone who truly understands her ephemeral beauty, not a brute actor.
Never mind.
Hello, Mr. Whiskers. Who's a pretty kitty?
Juliana,
Mr. Whiskers, hello, Detective. Did you need something?
Did you have any thoughts about the murder?
Oh, well, that's not really my field of expertise, but I'm sure there are probably some clues at the crime scene. Oh, was there something else, Detective?
Tell me about yourself.
Oh, well, I'm a scientist. You've probably met my wife, Juliana, already. I'm not sure what else to say, really. Oh, was there something else, Detective?
Tell me about your research.
Well, I was one of the leads on the team that created the first RoboBrains, the precursors to our model. Most people don't find it all that interesting, and I'd rather not bore you. Oh, was there something else, Detective?
I'd like to hear more about your research.
Oh, wonderful. No one else here really wants to talk about it. Functionally, this model is more or less the same as the previous versions I worked on, but without the neural inhibitor and reconditioning. The voice modulator seems to have some minor issues interfacing with the neural matrix, which can add some moodiness. But that's easily solved with regular tune-ups. Oh, was there something else, Detective?
I'd like to hear more about your research.
I'm afraid that's really all I should say about it. I mean, it is still classified, but I wanted to help with the investigation. Oh, was there something else, Detective?
I heard that Juliana and Ezra had an argument a few days before he was found dead. Tell me about that.
Well, I was in my lab at the time, so I didn't hear it. But Juliana has always been rather critical of Mr. Parker. I think she found something in the Overseer's office. I wasn't listening when she told me about it. I kind of had my head in my research. I don't know, really. I try to let her handle all the money stuff. Oh, was there something else, Detective?
RoboBrains have a voice modulator? Tell me about that.
That's what allows us to recreate our original voices. They can mimic any normal human voice, actually. I've speculated for some time that the issues we had with our recruited subjects is due to the brain attempting to preserve a sense of self. Maintaining our original voices helps reinforce the neural network, sort of like playing music for an Alzheimer patient. Oh, was there something else, Detective?
Maybe later.
Very well. I'll just get back to my work then.
Of course. Silly me.
Just let me have a look at the neural
Detective.
interface
Did you
matrix,
have a
and I'm
question
sure
about
I can
this
clear
murder?
that.
Did you have any thoughts about the murder?
If you ask me, it's one of those actors. Or that horrible painter. Their type is always the cause of violence.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm Juliana Riggs, heiress to the Riggs fortune and wife of Bert Riggs. I'm not sure what else you expected, Detective.
I heard you had a big fight with Ezra a few days ago. Care to explain?
Oh, well, it wasn't that big a deal, really. He wanted more money to pay for repairs on the hotel. I wasn't feeling well that day and lashed out a bit at the poor man. I really should have listened to him more.
What's with all the junk in here?
These are our things. We're just waiting till the war blows over so we can bring them back to the mansion.
Maybe later.
Good luck catching the murderer, Detective. No, it's not that. I've just caught another cold.
Watch your step.
Probably
There's quite a
something
bit of
got in.
debris here.
Oh, God. Not this again. Last month you were convinced you had the pieces.
You're not a doctor. How would you even know? Besides, I think it may...
not so bad yourself.
You should have seen me before all this. Red hair that was the envy of every girl and legs for days, darling. I'm sure you'd rather hear some of my stories from the silver screen rather than talk about that nasty murder business.
I must say, you're quite the actress.
What can I say? It just comes naturally. Care to hear some of my stories, detective?
Have you ever done radio? Your voice is quite enchanting.
Well, darling, play your cards right, and maybe I'll whisper some sweet nothings in your ear. Surely you must be here for my salacious stories of the silver screen.
I must say, I've known flesh and blood girls who aren't half the woman you are.
Keep it up, Tiger, and we'll find out if you can handle how much woman I am. Care to hear some of my stories, detective?
Why don't we grab a bottle of wine and go watch the sunset?
Sounds good, detective. That was great, detective, but we probably shouldn't make a habit of this. Catch you later, Tiger. Hey there, Tiger. Here for more stories about my acting career, or something else?
All right.
He'll deny ever saying it, but Keith once told me he caught Vince Natali and Sergio Amore together at a nightclub in a compromising situation. Did you need something else?
Apparently, Juliana had a big argument with Ezra a few days before he died. Did you happen to overhear any of the conversation?
Oh, yes. I haven't seen a woman go off like that since Teresa Dubois fired her costume designer. But to get back to your question, it was fever pitch, detective. She had apparently gone to the overseer's office to check on the state of things and found it in horrible disrepair. But, and this is where it gets interesting, it sounded like she found something that really set her off. Couldn't hear what, though. Did you need something else?
I found Keith's baseball bat at the scene of the murder. Any thoughts on how it got there?
I don't know, detective. I can't really imagine Keith killing Ezra. Did you need something else?
I've gotten the impression you've had an affair with Santiago.
Look, I love Keith, I do. But sometimes he just can't give me the attention I need. A girl gets lonely, detective. It only lasted a few dozen years. The man's a bit much, even for me. Did you need something else?
What were you and Keith talking about when I came in?
Oh, that? We were rehearsing. Gotta stay sharp if we're going to rebuild Hollywood. But Keith always gets flustered when he's upset. Did you need something else?
Did you have any thoughts about the murder?
Well, it is a bit strange how obsessed Santiago has been with the murder. I mean, he's always been a bit obsessive, though. He did a whole series of paintings of me, hundreds. Said I was his muse. It was flattering for a while, but the man is a bit much, even for me. Did you need something else?
Never mind.
I'll be around, languishing from your inattention.